Hey everybody, welcome to the children's sermon. I have to be very calm and careful because there's fire on my head. We're going to hear the story of Pentecost today and of the way that tongues of fire came upon the disciples' heads after Jesus ascended into heaven. Pretty exciting, right? This is a great story for us to hear, so let's get right to it. God sends help is what they call it in the Jesus Storybook Bible.
God sends help. Jesus' friends and helpers huddled together in a stuffy upstairs room. Even though it was sunny outside, the shutters were closed. The door was locked. "Wait in Jerusalem," Jesus had told them. "I'm going to send you a special present. God's power is going to come to you. God's Holy Spirit is coming." So here they were, waiting. Actually, mostly what they were doing was just being scared and hiding. You can't blame them. Their best friend had left. The important people and leaders were after them, and Jesus had given them a job they didn't know how to do. As they waited, they were praying and remembering how, from the beginning, God had been working out his secret rescue plan. Suddenly, a strong wind filled the little room, whistling through the walls, rustling the straw on the floor, and there, on everyone's heads, shining in the gloom, were flickering flames, fire that didn't hurt or burn, and something more. Inside, in their hearts, they felt a strange heat, almost as if all the coldness and hardness were melting away, as if their broken hearts were mending, and God was giving them brand new hearts, hearts that could work properly. How it happened, they didn't know. But they knew God's power had struck their hearts ablaze, and Jesus himself was coming to live inside them. They had seen Jesus go away, but now he was closer than he had ever been, inside their hearts. And this time, nothing could ever separate them. Jesus would always be there, with them, loving them, whispering the promise that would get rid of the poison and the terrible lie and the sickness in their hearts. God's wonderful promise to them. "You are my child, and I love you. Make your home in me, as I make my home in you," Jesus had said. Could it be? Heaven was coming into their hearts. They threw open the shutters. Sunlight flooded their room as love had flooded their hearts. And the little room was filled with happy noises, dancing feet, singing, laughing. They unlocked the door and surged out into the streets, as if they had never been afraid. Peter spoke in a loud voice so everyone could hear. "Jesus died for you," he said, "because he loves you. But God made him alive again. He has rescued you." People stopped and listened. The words sank down deep into their hearts and worked like a medicine that makes you well, like the antidote to a deadly poison, like a kiss that wakes you from a deep sleep. "Stop running away from God," Peter said. "Run to him instead, so he can love you and make you free." And Peter told them the wonderful story of God's love, God's never stopping, never giving up, unbreaking, always and forever love. How Jesus had come, all that had happened. There were lots of people from faraway countries in Jerusalem. They couldn't speak the same language, but as they listened to Peter, everyone could understand what he was saying in their own languages. Many people believed and became Jesus' new friends and helpers. And the wonderful news of Jesus spread like sparks from a fire to villages, towns, cities. Every day, more and more people believed. And so it was that the family of God's children, his special people, grew. One man was watching. "I'll stop this," Saul said. But this was God's plan, and nothing in the world would ever be able to stop it.
This is a story about a community of warriors and ninjas and warlocks, it appears. I don't know what these all are. But look they were all together, and they had a little circle that they were going on,
And here's the great thing about when you gather in a circle is that you can always add more people. And so one day there were some folks that came along. They said, hey, we want to be a part of your community. So they got added to the circle. The circle just kind of expanded, and more people joined up. And then the next day there was even more. Oh, he fell down. There were even more people. It's like, yeah, well, I can't stand up, but I can be a part of the circle. Here we go. Even more people. See, and that's just the thing about a circle, is that you can always make more room. You can always get, well, if you can stand up, you can always make more room. You can always get a little bigger. Doesn't change. It's still a circle, but more people got added.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that story. What a great story from the Jesus Storybook Bible. And then I hope you had fun looking at me playing with those little action figure things that I had. The whole idea of this Pentecost story is that God makes the community bigger, right? The Jewish people thought that originally maybe Jesus just came for them, but then Pentecost comes along, and suddenly the people are talking in all sorts of different languages. The whole world needs to hear this message of God's big plan, God's love and grace and forgiveness. And so it's a good reminder to us that our calling is to always make the circle bigger, right? Just like those action figures came along and were added to the circle, we need to find ways to constantly be inviting people in to be a part of this good news that we have. So that's your challenge for this week. That's your homework. Can you find a way to invite someone in? I know you might not be playing with a lot of other people at these times because of the way that the world is working, but is there a way you can invite a sibling in to play with you, or a cousin to play with you? Is there a way you can make your circle bigger, or invite someone new to have a Zoom meeting and play date, whatever it might be? Be creative about it. Try and figure something out. But I hope you enjoyed the children's sermon and this Pentecost message. I'm Pastor Nate. See you next week.